Hello and welcome aboard the Gallant Says podcast. It is Wednesday night, October 2nd, 2024 on YouTube at Paul Gallant, on Twitch at Gallant Says, on Facebook.com/Paul Gallant Sports. Been a little active there today. On Instagram at Sports Gallant and on X at Gallant Says. Now, if you went to the Astros game at Minute Maid Park this afternoon, you probably went home bummed out. And I get it. The Astros are down 2-0. But, guys, don't you believe in this team? They're fine. It's the Houston Astros we're talking about. The American League Championship Series is our God-given right. And don't you know how baseball works? First round of the playoffs, it's best of 5. Astros in 5. I don't know why everybody's so stressed. I don't know why everyone's so mad. Don't you know ball? We all know ball. We know the best kind of ball, right? So, I get it. It's not a great day, but can you guys calm down a little bit? Hang on a second. I got a text from my mommy. What does she say? Oh, shit!
A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
You kidding me? Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
I'd like to thank my mother for making me aware that this actually was a best-of-3 series. Truly, I didn't know that until this moment, right now. I mean, this one's just tough to get over now that we're being serious here. They lose 5-2 to the Detroit Tigers, and I think that deep down, we all saw this coming at some point, no matter how arrogant or cocky we were being. No one more so than me. But of course, this was a team that had a brutal start to the year that never truly figured out how to fix the issue at first base that started with that ridiculous contract given to Jose Abreu, that dealt with lots of injuries over the course of the year. The most annoying of all, Kyle Tucker's bruised shin that kept him out for 3 months. Yordan Alvarez at the end of the year, a couple of times over the course of the year. Alex Bregman's elbow gremlins at the very end of the year. There were a lot of things that were happening along the way, and you thought to yourself, are they really going to overcome all of this? Christian Javier needing Tommy John surgery. Justin Verlander going on the injured list with what we thought was a neck issue, became a shoulder issue, but it also was a neck issue the whole time. Jose Urquidy has to get Tommy John surgery. Lance McCullers never comes back. I know it sounds like I'm making a lot of excuses here. And by the way, I'm not. But I think ultimately it gave any of us truth serum. And while it was really incredible to see this team overcome all of this shit and get to a point where they actually made it to the playoffs and won the American League West again, I think all of us deep down were like, well, see how much further they can go. You know? Let's see how far they can go. And yet, it came to an end against a team that had a 0.3% chance of making the playoffs on August 10th. And I want to give a lot of credit to the Detroit Tigers. I know I was talking a lot of shit about them earlier in the week. I do these things to try to have fun talking baseball. For those who don't know, baseball, not my favorite sport. I love playoff baseball. I, in particular, love watching a good team play baseball. But when the team's not good, it's difficult. I don't pay much attention to the league as a whole. A team like the Detroit Tigers, complete afterthought to me. I knew Tarek Skubal was a good pitcher. I mispronounced his name as part of a bit. Staying in character, being arrogant, being cocky. I know he's a great pitcher. I know all the strikeouts he has, the wins he has, the ERA he has. He's going to win the Cy Young. But I wasn't sure that the Tigers had much more than this. And to their credit, they have been playing out of their ass for a while. It's been incredible. And I'm happy for Tigers fans. I mean, shit. I think I heard on the Astros broadcast while driving into the stadium that the Tigers hadn't been to the playoffs since 2014, and the Astros had played something like 100 playoff games since 2015. So I'm happy for Detroit. Michigan/Detroit are at the top of the sports world right now. Good for them. Truly, good for them. I'm rooting for them the rest of the way. I'm happy A.J. Hinch got to stick it to Jim Crane, who didn't stand behind him. Don't we always say, fuck the bosses? I'm happy A.J. Hinch got to do that. I like A.J. Hinch. I'm happy for the people of Detroit. I'm happy for a couple of people that I know that work for the Tigers organization. Really, I am. I'm pissed that the Astros lost. I'm mad that they lost like this. I'm annoyed that they lost to a team that a couple of years ago, I mean, wouldn't even be sniffing the playoffs no matter how well they played down the stretch. But to bring it all back to where I was just a moment ago, I think we all had a feeling this was possible. Let's read some comments here. Tulsa Gamer asks, do you take the Tigers seriously now? I guess. I'm not going to watch the rest of the playoffs. He continues to say, how do you not hear of Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter, though? Because truly, I don't give a fuck about baseball outside of the Houston Astros. I watch the Astros every night. Now that they're done, like, I'm 100% into football season. I know this is going to sound like a defense mechanism, but really, I used to like baseball a lot more. Just don't like it as much as I used to. More comments here. Frodo T. Baggins says, your video aged like milk. Yeah, it did. AR Platinum says, ouch. What else do we have here? Sam Sun says it feels too early to end the season like that. Yeah, but think about this. This banged up offense that has so many really good bats. Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, even if he's limping around the ballpark. Kyle Tucker, even if he's not 100%. Alex Bregman. Yainer Diaz playing a full season, not being benched and making everyone get mad at Dusty Baker for not playing him. They got bats. Where were they? I mean, think about this. You scored 3 runs this series, and the 3 runs came on a slow dribbler to right field in the 9th inning in Game 1. A fielder's choice where John Singleton's fucking legging it out, getting to first base to beat out a throw, and a foul ball where Jeremy Pena, who's got wheels, I think got really lucky that he actually got the slide in. That's how you scored 3 runs. And sure, Tarek Skubal, he's good. You weren't patient enough against him, but he only pitched 6 innings in this series. He had 12 more innings to get more runs. You had 3 over those 12 innings with all those bats. And you spoiled good performances in the bullpen in Game 1, though it was already a losing effort at that moment in time. You spoiled a great start by Hunter Brown. Completely spoiled it. I did know who Parker Meadows was going into this series, so he hits that home run, and you're thinking, damn, I mean, this team has to be able to score at some point, right? And then they got the 2 runs, and you're thinking, oh, okay, the Tigers are going to fall apart after this. But the Tigers just punched right back. And that gets to the very expensive bullpen for the Houston Astros. Of course, Rafael Montero, who knows where he is? The Astros essentially sent him to Florida. If you've ever watched Breaking Bad, remember where Saul, Better Call Saul, is suggesting ways to dispose of people that maybe could hurt Walt, send them to Belize. I mean, that's what they did with Rafael Montero. Montero got paid, credit to him. And anyone who watched him in Seattle knew he should not have been paid. But the bullpen starts with an arm like Rafael Montero, who after a while you couldn't trust in any spot, even in mop-up duty. You'd rather have a positional player out there. But over this season, and to go back to saying, you always had a weird feeling about this team, even though they're the Astros and they've been to 7 straight ALCS until now. And have won 7 of the last 8 American League Wests. It was that this bullpen, while statistically very good, had moments where you didn't feel that confident in them. And it starts with Ryan Presley. Presley came in. He gets the traditional introduction that he always does. They start playing, right? And everyone lights up their phones, but he's coming in what inning did Ryan Presley come into? Again, was it the 8th inning? I think it was the top of the 8th. He comes in. And it's weird because it's the 8th inning. It's not a closer. He still gets that introduction, but he comes in, strikes out the first batter. When he struck out the first batter, I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, he's got this. But then the inning continued. And then you had that single by Carpenter, single by Vierling on the first pitch. You got a wild pitch as well that, I don't know if it hit home plate or what, but I've never seen a wild pitch bounce into the netting above the cage. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And right there, you're like, oh, God. And look, Presley, to his credit, after that happened, he got a strikeout, but he walked the next batter. Josh Hader comes in. He had pitched in game 1. Should he have pitched in game 1? Up for debate, but you're paying him a ton of money. What? Almost $100 million. He walks the first batter, Spencer Torkelson, on 4 straight balls. 3 of them were close. And then it's Ibanez doubling them all home. I remember thinking to myself, oh, shit. They just scored 3 runs. I look up at the scoreboard. It's 5-2. Everyone in the crowd, which was extremely loud after Jeremy Pena scored on a foul ball today. Everyone in the crowd was doing this. You know, the trademark, oh, shit, that fans do when things hit the fan. So the offense underachieved, as it has all year. Another rough performance for Kyle Tucker. Tucker had a couple of moments where he could have done things, and he had a walk in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but ultimately he goes 0 for 3. He has a strikeout looking with a runner on in the 5th. What happened a little bit later? When did Tucker come in again? Tucker grounds into a double play to end the 7th inning, right after the Astros had gotten those 2 runs. I mean, you're feeling great. You put Jake Myers in for John Singleton. He grounds into a double play. The clutch hit for Tucker never came. He was 0 for 7 in this series. His playoff performance the last 3 seasons has been bad, even while they won a World Series. So the offense underachieves, the bullpen throws it away, and it spoils a great start by Hunter Brown. And that's it. Season's over. That's it. Let's read some comments. Texas tags. For all the cornballs not wanting a bat at the deadline, Astros can't score more than 3 runs, is what it is. They probably should have gotten somebody during the offseason. I think the depth issues were something that could have been seen, but you have to wonder how much did Dana Brown have to work with, just given the Jose Abreu contract. They still believed in Jose Abreu for far too long. They tried to make it work for far too long. And the Rafael Montero contract and some of the other contracts on the books. I mean, you want to take a look at the contracts for the Astros that are massive burdens for them right now. I mean, we haven't seen Lance McCullers in, it seems like, forever, right? So McCullers making an average of $17 million a year. You have Ryan Presley making $15 million for this season. You had Jose Abreu making what? About $18.5 million. You had Rafael Montero making about $10 million. You got Kendall Graveman, who's not even pitching, making something like $8 million. You were in a spot where you didn't really have that much room to work with. And while you always say, hey, we'll just spend more money, I really wonder if the Astros, to Jim Crane's credit, actually did all that he could. I kind of think he did, you know, as far as like green-letting spending. I'm assuming that they're in the red this year, just given how much they spent. What was the payroll? Third, fourth most in baseball? It was a lot of money that they were spending. How much more could they have spent in the offseason? How much more could they have taken on at the trade deadline? And I think that's what's really frustrating here, is that they did do their best, but they were hamstrung by contracts for guys who just weren't playing this year. What other comments do we have? Largo Ghost is asking, you holding up okay? Took a little nap on the way out of the stadium. I'll have to talk about this probably on tomorrow's show. Didn't get to park in the parking lot I wanted to, but bright side was I got to walk by Kobo's Q on the way out, so I had a shot and a drink there. I had a Rally Margarita as well. The Rally Margarita is 0 for the last 3. It hasn't been working. Hell, honestly, the Rally Margarita is 0 for how many Astros home games have they lost in the playoffs in a row? Hasn't worked. Hedera comments, the elephant in the room, the Bagwell debacle. Yep. Jeff Bagwell, Jim Crane, perhaps Craig Biggio. The Astros Letterman Jacket Skull and Bones Society. Reggie Jackson in there weirdly too. Get 50 Cent in there. Maybe he'll say, hey, I got a little extra money, but honestly might enable the Astros. Skeeter 2 times asks, is the run over? It's a great question. Every single time I've felt that the Astros run is over, I've been wrong. The last time I said it was after they lost the World Series to the Nationals in 2019. I'm not going to say it until it's officially done. This does feel like a massive punch to the gut, but you're hoping a lot of injured players are eventually going to come back. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with the pitchers. I was having a conversation with some of the reporters in the locker room, and I wonder about Yusei Kikuchi and his future here, among other Astros players' futures, because they might need an arm like that. When's Javier going to be back? Is he going to be the same guy when he comes back? Is Lance McCullers ever coming back? Is Luis Garcia coming back? Remember, they still have Luis Garcia. Jose Urquidy, he's probably gone. His contract is up at the end of the year. Can you gamble on arms coming off of major surgeries to return to form and focus your money elsewhere? Re-sign Alex Bregman? Pay Kyle Tucker, though I think a lot of people don't want to pay Kyle Tucker after what we saw this series. AR Platinum. I'm just glad we got to see Kikuchi start a playoff game. Maybe on the bright side is that no other major league team saw Kikuchi start a playoff game, so maybe they're a little bit skeptical that he'll be good in a role like that. Mr. Man's joking around. Hashtag relentless. LOL. What other comments do we have? Todd the Show says if it doesn't work, it's not a Rally Margarita. You're right. Pete Matthews comments, facebook.com/PaulGallantSports. Why do people cry when someone talks about how they feel about the game? Sorry that this is a platform that is for us to talk about a game that was not the game we thought was going to happen. Well, sports make us emotional. Isn't that it in a nutshell? B says, where's Mattress Mac? This is a great question. I remember way back when they tried to disrespect Mattress Mac. How about them Stros? How about them Stros? How about them Stros? How about them Stros? Yeah, it's not a great song. I haven't checked any of the Instagram comments yet. Let's take a look. Ian Ellingson says, it's football season, Paul. I agree. Ian Ellingson says, Paul, Rockets ball in 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. The Rockets are on the back burner for now. My buddy Brad. I fucking hate that you got the blue check mark, Brad. Is this Detroit biased because one of their pro team's mascot is a cat? I do like cats. For those who don't know, I posed for a magazine photo shoot with the kitty cat. Arya, my little moople, she's pawing on the door behind me right now. Meow. I do kind of like that the Tigers have all that going for them, you know, and I think it's going to make it very easy for me to jump on the Tigers bandwagon and annoy all of the Tigers fans that I was trolling a little bit ago. This is how you spin it and act like you were never wrong in the first place, because I did talk a lot of shit. I will say that for the most part, you take a look at probably like 95% of the show, there was a little bit of respect shown towards the Tigers, but the day before game one, fuck it. Your boy went all in. Hunter Green, 0317 comments. I'm going into full college football and NFL and hockey mode. Hockey, shout out to you. I believe, Hunter, I met you at today's game. Hunter, a rodeo man. Shout out. Ballsy. I am way too much of a puss to ever do something like that. Though, perhaps I'm enough of a man to get into mutual combat. We will talk about mutual combat tomorrow. I'm not kidding. Facebook, which I have not used in a really long time for more than a couple of minutes, really just to check birthdays, led to perhaps my favorite interaction with angry sports fans that I've ever had, because somebody challenged me to mutual combat because of a thumbnail that I used for a post. I can't believe it. It's been such an interesting day. I'm still baffled that things escalated so quickly on that front. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the things that were said after the game. I did go into the Astros clubhouse, and I think everybody is asking what is next for Alex Bregman. And, I boxed a bunch of people out. I stood in a specific spot in the Astros clubhouse hoping to talk to Alex Bregman. And I asked him about that moment in the bottom of the seventh inning when Jeremy Pena scores on the foul ball and the crowd's just losing its shit. Here is Alex Bregman talking about that.
Well, if it is, it was obviously it was a big moment in the game, but unfortunately we didn't come out on top.
I'm not going to lie. When I asked him that question, I felt bad about asking it. I basically said, like, hey, what was it like? If that's maybe the last moment you get to hear the crowd being what it can be from time to time, how you feel about it. And the next question that he answered, he was looking down at the ground. I was like, man. That was tough for Bregman up there. And I am curious as to what's next for Alex Bregman. I know that the entire Astros clubhouse, I know how they feel about it. This is Hunter Brown, who was asked by Greg Bailey of ABC 13 about Bregman and everything he means to this clubhouse.
Bregman is a special human and a special baseball player. I hope to get to see him back here next year. That's all I got to say.
Man, that's all I've got to say at the very end. Damn. It's essentially saying, I hope we fucking sign him, but I don't think we will. More on Alex Bregman's future. This is courtesy of Space City Home Network. Shout out to them with the video here. This is Jose Altuve talking about Alex Bregman.
This is your last game playing with Bregman. How tough will that be?
I don't want to get to the idea of thinking about last game with Breggy. Like I said 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty confident that he's going to be our third baseman next year. We have to. We're not going to be the same organization without him. So in my mind, there's not a chance that this is the last game.
I wonder if he's had a conversation with somebody. He talked a little bit later, a follow-up question about Alex Bregman, and he said that he's going to talk to Jim Crane about this. Here is, once again, Jose Altuve talking about Alex Bregman.
To move on.
Jose, you keep saying you're confident. Like, what gives you that confidence?
Yeah, the guy he is. He means a lot. He gave a lot to this organization. So now it's time for us to, as a team, as an organization, to pay him back and make him stay here.
Is that something that you will tell Jim Crane?
Yeah, for sure.
You like hearing that. I don't know what the Astros would do if Bregman were to walk. Do they move Bryce Matthews, who's risen the ranks in the minor league system, a first-round pick a couple of years ago, as shortstop primarily? Do they move him over to third? Do they move Jeremy Pena over to third? I don't know. I truly do not know what they will do. But I think losing Bregman's going to hurt more than any of the departures that the Astros have had over the years. I think it's going to hurt way more than Springer. Springer had a lot of injuries. Springer was the heart and soul of that clubhouse back in the day. That's at least what people said, more than Correa. Bregman is so damn smart. It's not just what he brings to the table, and he has these slow starts, but he finished the season strong. I felt all of his at-bats, specifically in Game 1, were really good. And you really going to move on from him? Ever since the injury issues he had a couple of years ago, I mean, he has been the model of endurance. He's generally the Astros players playing the most games. You're going to move on from him. I think moving on from Bregman would be probably the move that makes me feel that this runs over. And I think a lot of Astros fans would silently nod their head in agreement there. You don't want to co-sign it verbally, but if Bregman's gone, especially if he goes to someone like the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox or something like that, I think we're all going to think, damn, can they really overcome another great player who leaves, but especially one like that? I mean, remember the story about earlier in the year, how he was talking to Hunter Brown and telling Hunter Brown to start throwing that two-seam fastball more. It's not just what he brings to the table as a hitter. He's a very good fielder. He is a smart baseball player who is obsessed with the game, and you need guys like that in the clubhouse. In a world without Alex Bregman, do the Astros have the same edge? I don't know. I really don't. We have some people that want to talk Rockets basketball. Perhaps we will at some point. I am excited about this year for the Rockets, but I don't know what the realistic expectations are. I have some questions about how much better Jalen Green can get. He did have a nice month last year, but I don't know. You have Alper and Şengün. Can he and Jalen Green coexist together? I don't know. But they will be fun to watch, and I like the edge that they have. Steven Adams is healthy. You got Dylan Brooks. I enjoy Dylan Brooks. I know a lot of people don't. He's not their cup of tea. I like it. I'd rather have a guy like Dylan Brooks than a flopper who takes advantage of the game and isn't really that good of a three-point shooter. Seems like he could be in better shape. I don't know who I could possibly be talking about throwing shade like that. As far as other potential departures for the Houston Astros, here is Justin Verlander asked by Christy Reekin of the Associated Press if he's given any thought to his future in baseball.
I don't know. I think I do feel like I have a lot more to give pitching-wise. This year was a tough year. Learned a lot from it. And obviously I talked to you guys about how I was feeling coming back and how I needed to push the issue a bit. Kind of a weird injury and in the neck, and tried as best I could to get out there and be an asset to help this team in October, but wasn't able to do it. Obviously wasn't pitching well enough to be part of this series. But having an off season to kind of get things right, I definitely feel like I want to continue to pitch and compete, and I'm not ready to step away yet.
not ready to step away yet. I was curious because some of the things he was saying the last couple of weeks, specifically the last availability he had, you did get the feeling that maybe he is thinking about his baseball mortality. I wonder where he'd pitch. Would he pitch for a contender? Especially with the way that he pitched this year. What did he have, an 8 ERA once he came back from injury? It was rough. So you wonder, hey, what is his future? But I doubt it's here. I mean, he wasn't even on the playoff roster. And, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's in his early 40s. Is he going to be the same guy again? I don't know. I would love to see him continue to do what he's done, just given what he's done for the Astros. I know that there were moments back in the day where, why isn't Verlander, with the team for the World Series, blah, blah, blah. He's throwing it to the cage. He could be back out there, but I don't know. Some of the injuries these pitchers go through, it would have been nice if he was in the dugout. I agree on that front, but it'll be weird to see him pitching elsewhere, though we did see him pitching for the New York Mets for half of last season before he came back in. Here is Hunter Brown talking about Justin Verlander. I got to say, a lot of compliments for Hunter Brown. You heard Alex Bregman say that he's a superstar. He's got ace material. Verlander complimented him as well. And he was so good today. And it's a shame that in a losing effort, he was so awesome because he doesn't even really get to enjoy this. He was asked about it, and he's like, we lost. And I think I'd feel the same way. But here is Hunter Brown talking about Justin Verlander, everything he's meant for him.
I feel like it was different types of waves. When I first met him, I was still maybe in awe or shocked that, my locker's right next to him. And now I'd like to think I can call him a friend. Maybe I'll even call him over the off season and bug him a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, the impact he's had on me has been it's been a big one. He's a role model for me. So I'm just blessed to have the opportunity to work with him.
And you really wonder what's next. Brown is going to be perhaps the ace of this team in the not-too-distant future, seeing as Framber Valdez is going into the last year of his contract. Isn't that weird to think of? Just how long this run of success has gone with the 7 straight ALCSs finally snapped, the 7 AL West titles in 8 years. You look at everybody who's been here, but it's about to be just Jose Altuve. That's it. Unless you count Joe Espada, who was here with AJ Hinch. Pretty crazy. Time goes by quickly, and I know that I've really enjoyed this run. I wish I was here for all of it. I had good times in Seattle. Seattle's one of those things where I look back on. There's some moments that I wish were a little bit better, but I definitely missed covering this team while I was up there. Mariners are clearly a different operation. As far as other decisions the Astros are going to have to make, you have arbitration with Framber Valdez. He's probably going to be making $17.8 this year. Kyle Tucker, $15.8. Urquidy's gone. Mauricio Dubon's going to be making nearly $5 million. Luis Garcia, about $2 million. Brian Abreu, Chas McCormick, Jake Myers, Jeremy Pena. All those guys are players who are going to be working towards arbitration. You got the Bregman contract, Verlander, Kikuchi. It's a lot. It is a lot of decisions that they're going to have to make this offseason. It's interesting looking at the chat. Chat's starting to talk about Rockets basketball already. Cebu says this sucks. Aaron Platinum wants to talk about disastrous potential situations for the Houston Rockets. John Marine has an interesting point. This season is only a failure if you think the 2024 Astros are a team of destiny that are championship or bust. They are championship or bust, though. That's just the way that it goes. They are championship or bust. Like that's just the way it goes. Every single year, that's what you are when you've created these lofty expectations by dominating or just being really good for such a long period of time. No one in that clubhouse feels good about this. no one in this clubhouse is going to give a shit that they won the American League West. They're going to care that they came back and rallied, but to have this happen after that rallying just sucks. Here is Mauricio Dubon, courtesy of Will Kunkel, Fox 26, with an all-time line as we get closer and closer to the end of this podcast.
Never gonna forget this team. You're never gonna forget the guys you play with. No, it's crazy just being to an end. And I was telling Hay when he got here. I mean, I remember watching his debut when I was in Honduras. Now I got to share a clubhouse with him. It's pretty cool. I mean, Jordan playing with a broken knee. I mean, I got a thumb. I mean, that's the type of players we are. Going out there and grind our off, and so we can, just try to get results. And it sucks, but we're not done yet.
We're not done yet. I mean, that's the hope. I enjoyed seeing Chandler Rome in the background right there after Mauricio Dubon talking about. What did he say again? Hang on. You're gonna have to hear this one more time.
Broken knee. I mean, I got a thumb. I mean, that's the type of players we are. Going out there and grind our off, and so
grinding our dicks off. Sounds painful. Don't put it in a pencil sharpener. It don't belong there. What else do we have? This is Joe Espada talking about how he hopes the team is proud of what they did this year.
It's tough, but I want our guys to be proud of how far we've come. Like it was a very challenging season. We reached the postseason. That's our goal every year. And it didn't happen for us this year. But I want our guys to be proud of their resiliency and how tough this season was. And, we trying to figure out ways to piece it together throughout the whole entire season. Injuries, young pitchers coming up and stepping up, young players coming up and being part of the process that we have in place, right? There's so many great things that we did that I want us to hang our head down just because of the way the season ended.
But this is the problem. This is just the way it goes. I think if you're a player that's been a part of this clubhouse for a while, you can be proud about overcoming all of this shit and all the injuries you fought through. But shit, I mean, for it to end still like this and now have all these questions about the future of the team in front of you and questions that you wonder if Jim Crane is going to say, fuck it, just throw his wallet at those problems again. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, I will say, the margaritas at the park are $29, right? So that should help. Bought a couple this series. Mustard's probably $370 for a packet. I mean, the air conditioning barely works. They're clearly cutting costs there. I'm sweating my balls off in there. We'll see. It's a bummer. It is a bummer. I know you guys are probably feeling it a little bit more than I am. Just because, hey, this is my job. I cover this for a living, and I definitely don't ride and die with the Astros. I enjoy watching them in the playoffs, but I'm sort of at a point now where I don't know that I really am so die hard about any sports team anymore. It bums me out a little bit. But I am bummed to see this because I don't know what's next, and I think doubt is completely fair. I think having a feeling that this is it is a very natural feeling, and I'm not going to tell you not to have it. I will say I have enjoyed this 8-year stretch. It's been great. And honestly, go back to 2015. I guess we can call it 9 years. It's been something else. And we'll see if Bregman's back. We'll see if all those injured players can come back, and if the Astros once again say, we're not going quietly into the night, we're going to do this shit again. They definitely can do it in the AL West, that's for sure. The AL West, it's not a good division. But, yeah, this one sucks. If you are a Tigers fan, hopefully this helped you get your rocks off. You deserve a lot of credit. This was a really impressive couple of games that you guys put together and a really incredible couple of months that you guys have put together. I'm going to talk about a couple of incidents towards the back of tomorrow's show. Still trying to figure out what the daily time is. This week did kind of throw things out of whack. I want to get into doing the Gallant Says pod every single day. I don't know if we're going to do it on Fridays, but the idea is Sunday through Thursday. Big thing is I just have to actually have the energy to do it after a 3-hour radio show. But the more I think about it, the more I need to do it. I really appreciate you guys waiting around and sticking with me tonight. It's been a long day. I was at the ballpark for a while, cutting up, editing sound, all that shit. I'll be talking about it some more tomorrow with Joe George. You can hear us noon to 3, ESPN 97.5, 92.5 on YouTube at ESPN Houston. Some show clips you can see on my YouTube channel at Paul Gallant. And by the way, that's the way I want you to watch this thing. Subscribe and like on YouTube. That's where most of this comes. But if you're on Twitter, at Gallant Says, at X, you can watch it there. You can watch this on my Instagram, at Sports Gallant, on my Facebook page, which has been really entertaining the last 24 hours. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show. We're going to have some fun with that. Or on Twitch, which still is active. You can see where it is. There it is. Where is it? You can see the chat from all of the different platforms. I don't know if it's as visible as you want it to be. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. We're working on things and trying to make it better every single show. But this also will be available in podcast form, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Please, if you like it that way, subscribe, like, tell a friend. I know, it's all over the place. That's sort of what happens after a game when we're focusing entirely on a game. Anyway, I am merely Paul Gallant. Big thanks to everybody who hung out with me tonight. Sorry about the Astros. Go get them next year, I guess, but we got to wait a long time. So there's only one thing that I can really say on the way out.
It's football time in Houston, and we're ready to play.
Get ready for an obnoxious amount of Houston Texans football coverage and NFL talk too, when we will get to the Houston Rockets once the season tips off. So long, farewell. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your Wednesday or early Thursday morning. Peace.